Hello and welcome back to the Zenjutsu Dojo. I'm Dr. Chris Warholic, and today I'm going to give a presentation on a technique called I Am Alive. I'm coming to you today from the Onomeo Tea Company here close to Hilo, Hawaii. I'd like to thank my dear friends, new friends, Rob and Mike, for allowing me to use this beautiful place for this presentation. So let's get started. Our topics that we will discuss during this presentation are really the goals of the technique. In addition, we'll discuss and describe the technique itself. We'll take a look at the processes, the physiologic processes that occur and that we can influence using this technique, including the autonomic nervous system, the HPAA, which is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, in addition to the vagus nerve. And finally, we're going to give it a try, and hopefully you feel alive when you're done. So the goals of this technique are to experience an in-the-now moment, or a mindful moment. We're going to strengthen the mindfulness muscle with this technique if you practice for any length of time. I assure you that this technique, if you've ever wondered what mindfulness is, we can bring you into the now. We can make you mindful. In addition, it will help you bring awareness to the mind-body connection, and it will help you see what the physiologic experience of the autonomic nervous system, the vagus nerve, and the HPAA feel like. Finally, the goal is to feel alive. So let's talk about the technique in and of itself. I'll go through it relatively quickly, and then I'll have you try it, and then I'll give a little bit more in-depth description of what's actually happening to your body during this time. So as a disclaimer, as a physician, make sure that you speak to your doctor and make sure that you ask them if you are physically capable or healthy enough to hold your breath for a length of time. I don't want to be responsible for anybody's heart attack or stroke. So, disclaimer out of the way. First, you got to take a seat in a place that's safe. Don't be operating heavy equipment or driving or using kitchen cutlery, right? You take 2 deep diaphragmatic breaths. On the second breath, after the in-breath, you hold it. And then what you do is it's a process of observing your body. Scan your body, see how it feels. Do you feel your heartbeat? What do your legs feel like? What does your chest feel like? What's going on in your mind? So then what you do is you sit there for a moment and you start to sense your oxygen being depleted and your CO2 increasing. And when that happens, that triggers all types of biochemical alarms in your body, in particular the sympathetic nervous system. So what I want you to do is I want you to rest in that, continue to feel your body, scan your body. Do you feel your heart? What's your brain doing? Is it thinking, I've got a to-do list, this is a waste of my time, this is a stupid technique? Try to maintain that focus on something, even if it is the mind. Let that oxygen deplete. And as it does, you'll find that you start to feel a heightened sense of sympathetic tone, right? Eventually, you'll feel the vagus nerve, which is right in here, in through your throat, your chest, your neck. If you ever felt that sense of impending doom or panic, it's all in here. That's the vagus nerve. It's the only nerve that connects directly from our brain to our viscera, so our heart, our lungs, our gastrointestinal organs, right? It's the mind-body connection. It's the mind-body nerve. So, what I want you to do is continue to scan your body, and eventually you will feel like you have to breathe, right? I want you to continue to try to think, though. Try to keep your mind off of the fact that you are suffocating, right? That's a very important practice. So, do you feel your sympathetic drive increasing, your heart rate increasing, your need to breathe? Do you feel the vagus tone eventually, that trigger point? Do you feel the adrenaline, which is part of the HPAA, the chemical process that happens when you start to dump hormones in that alarm state? It's being produced by your adrenal gland, right? You should be able to feel and experience all those things. So when you can't take it anymore, don't pass out, don't harm yourself. What I want you to do is consciously take a deep breath. And as you do, rest in that state. Continue to monitor your body. See how it feels. Feel your sympathetic tone going down, your parasympathetic tone going up, your heart rate going down, your parasympathetic tone going up, your rest and relax. You can actually feel it flooding your body, right? That's a biochemical process. You've lost the vagal tone, right? Now you no longer feel that sense of impending doom. Oh my God, I've got to do something, right? In addition, all of that adrenaline starts to get absorbed by your liver, so it goes away, right? So what you've done is you've almost simulated a death-like experience. And if there's any experience that would bring you to the now, it would be death or near death. And trust me, as an emergency room physician, I've seen it quite a few times, and people are always in the now when they're there. So let's talk about this whole technique from a physiologic process. So I've sort of referenced these during this presentation, but when you start out, take deep breaths. You open your thoracic cavity. You are upregulating your parasympathetic tone, right? Now, that's the rest and digest. Then you hold your breath. It increases your sympathetic tone, fight and flight. Your oxygen deprivation and your CO2 levels going down actually will further activate the sympathetic drive. Your heart will race. Your mind and body will wake up. You'll get to the point where your sympathetic nervous system and your vagal tone force you to pay attention to the now. And at some point, no matter how hard you try, you're forced into the present moment. You're awake. You've got to have oxygen. Your mind wakes up and tries to problem solve this death-like experience. So the body responds, once again, in increasing heart rate to get oxygen to the brain. You can feel your vagal tone increase in your chest like an alarm when you're doing it, right? Your mind is present to strategize how to get oxygen. In addition, you've moved from really a left brain where you're thinking. Even when you tried it, you couldn't. You moved to the right brain, right? And if you were truly in a suffocating situation, you know, all of those systems would just be on overdrive, which is what happens with this practice. And eventually your brain cells would die. So it's a good practice to, it's like one of those fundamental things when I first started taking judo. You learn the basics, and you can always go back to the basics no matter how long you practice meditation and mindfulness. This is a great, great, great technique. So once again, the goals were to experience an in the now or mindful moment, to strengthen the mindfulness muscle, to experience being forced out of the left brain and into the right brain, to be aware of the mind-body and the mind-body connection, and to experience what it feels like to have an autonomic nervous system drive, or what that physiologic process is, how that experience occurs in the body. The vagus nerve and the HPAA. And hopefully, in the end, it made you feel alive. Well, this is the end of this presentation on I Am Alive. I hope that you enjoyed this technique and that you use it in the future. Once again, I want to thank Rob and Mike from the Ono Mayo Tea Company. I cannot thank you enough for allowing me to use this time or share this time and use the property for this presentation. I wish you the best. Thank you so very much, Dr. Chris Warholic. Namaste.